Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's the whole day of filming and making videos, so I can definitely feel like my language is starting to fail me at some moments, but the topic is really interesting. How to stop acting like a child. This is my biggest pain, I would say, and I believe that it was my personal purpose in life. I have even built beautiful relationship with my husband, who actually is always in an adult position, and he always made decisions, and he was very aware of the world and aware of his actions, aware of his behaviors, and always showed me how that taking responsibility for our actions is the biggest freedom. Well, I didn't understand that at 20, but now I do, and I really want to share it with you. Let's go. Hello, my name is Kate Semeniuk. I'm a hypnotherapist, and I love to uncover the issues based on my experience working with the subconscious mind. I started working with the subconscious mind 3 years ago, and so far had more than 500 sessions already. 500 clients already received an insight into their mind and why they came up and why their body came up with these or that strategies that are not beneficial and hurting them. Personally, I have been struggling for many years, since probably the age of 18, 20, with this victim role, but mostly with the child's beliefs. Strong child reactions and beliefs that after that I would feel guilt and would say, why did I do that? Why am I acting like a child? When I started to work with clients, I started to hear these questions that they are asking to themselves. Kate, why am I acting like a child? Why do I know what I need to do? But as soon as the trigger comes, I act like a child. I get angry, I get frustrated, I manipulate my partner, or I manipulate my kids. Oh my God, I mess up their childhood as well. I feel so much guilt that I'm now overwhelmed with guilt. But I still do that. I still act like a child. With the childhood position, right? The childish mindset, let's just say, with these reactions and triggers and behaviors that we don't like about ourselves. We want to make decisions. We want to be strong. We want to have willpower. We want to use our, critical thinking. Why we don't do that? So if we take your life and we look at your first 18 years of life, and that's your work, your inner work that you can do. You can even take the little piece of paper and write it down. You need to look at the moments of the stages of your life that were suppressed or repressed. For example, and I will talk about which stages were repressed, which feelings and emotions were repressed. If any moment in your childhood was repressed, the behavior, the reaction, the feeling, the emotion, the strategy, it will be showing up in your adulthood. The same happens with grief. So when we work with grief, we lost a loved one, and we just distract ourselves with work, and we just don't live through all of the stages of grief, they will catch up on us in the future. You probably have known that. If you had done any research or you have worked with grief counselors, they will tell you that. You need to work and to go through all of these stages. Otherwise, they will catch up on you. The anger that wasn't, the denial, by the way, right? That wasn't lived and processed in the grief moment, in a grief stage, will catch up on you somewhere else and will show up in other areas, your relationship, your career, your family life, your personal life. The same with stages in childhood. It's the same. And there are two options. They will either catch up on you if they were suppressed, or you're going to be stuck in them if you've built and developed that strategy. Let's take the example. The first one, and I did 10, the first one is anger. Anger is the rebuilding, putting out your personal boundaries, right? Setting your personal boundaries. And if the anger was not expressed in childhood, or there was no ability to express anger, you were not allowed to not agree with your parents or caregivers, if you had no right to say no if you didn't want to do something, if you didn't have the right to make decisions when it was time for you to make your own decisions, you will feel that anger showing up in your life later on. So what will happen? You're either going to be constantly angry person, which is like a stuck in that, right? Once you become free, you are not living with your parents anymore, you can express yourself freely, you'll come into these anger outbursts. Or that anger will be compensated by other behaviors. Also childish behaviors, maybe avoidance, maybe something else, like addiction maybe, right? Attachment, strong attachment. Addiction is a strong attachment to something. Just like we strongly attach to our parents, we sometimes in adulthood strongly attach to some substances or some behaviors. So it will be either compensated or you're going to be stuck in that. And that will feel like, oh, why am I acting like a child? The child would get angry at this. Adults don't. But in childhood, you didn't have the choice to do that. You didn't have a choice to live through that experience. So if you work with your therapist, and we can work together as well, if you're looking for the hypnosis as a way to relive, recreate, and process those moments that were isolated in childhood, hypnosis works tremendously well for that. The other one, the second one, is resentment. You can find people who are constantly resentful. They're resentful towards the world, resentful towards themselves. The same strategy that wasn't expressed in childhood. That's why we are acting like a child, because as a child, we didn't have the ability to act upon it. Or we were stuck without given a chance to heal through that. And as a children, we are given a chance to heal, but as adults, we are taking that chance. We're choosing to heal. And being stuck in the strategy is when that strategy plays a huge role and somehow protecting you from reality. So, for example, people can become rebels for life. They will resent, deny, boycott the world, even when they are adults, because that protects them from facing the reality and dealing with the pain from childhood. There is a strong protection strategy behind that behavior. And we will look at these people and we will say, oh, they're acting like children. They're still didn't grow up. While in reality, somehow their mind just protects them from the reality, from the pain. Just like alcohol protects and kind of helps people not face the painful memories and not deal with the reality. Number 3, manipulating with guilt and blame. If you were manipulated with guilt, you might manipulate with guilt as well. If you were blamed, you might adopt that strategy and blame as well. If you didn't have any possibility to deal with that, to protect yourself, to stand up for yourself, to stand up for your truth, yes, you will use that in adulthood. So as well, if you're going to a therapist and they are asking you what is not working, what are the behaviors that you don't like, you will tell them, oh, I have this avoidance tendency, or I have this manipulation that I'm using and I don't like it, or I have this, emotional eating, whatever it is. It is the stage in childhood that wasn't processed and it's now showing up. Because somehow your mind is showing you, hey, you're ready to work through that. Let's do it. I'm going to trigger you more because you need to work through that. Number 4, inability to make decisions. The same victim role, victim position, child position, whatever. Child role, we act like children, right? We are unable to make decisions because either decisions were punished, either we didn't have we had full control over our life in childhood, so we don't know what to do with the freedom. So we either going to be stuck in the inability to make decisions, or we're going to make decisions for everyone. We're going to use the same control over people, but it's still the childish role and the childish behavior. Number 5, avoiding responsibility. Avoiding responsibility as well is not some stage that was repressed or suppressed and is now showing up. Unable to take responsibility or fear to take responsibility for your life, right? Is the fear of consequences. It's not that much that you are afraid to do something. It's about what is going to come out of it. I don't want to take the consequences. We never know, by the way, the consequences fully. So sometimes we make actions, make decisions that are showing up in years and even decades as consequences. We don't know that. But the learning process and working with your psyche so that you release that fear of responsibility is going to help you to master your life. You've already probably heard it from so many self-development masters and gurus. Take responsibility for your life, right? Grow up. Number 6, judgment and criticism. If we have been judged, if we have been criticized a lot in childhood, we will either use this strategy because it was suppressed. We couldn't do anything about it. Then it's going to flourish in our adulthood. We are either going to be triggered by criticism and judgment, or we are going to judge and criticize a lot. We're going to do that to other people. So this moment, the pain behind any of these behaviors needs to be processed in order to drop that strategy. You can't drop the strategy if the mind doesn't understand why. Why would we drop this strategy if it works? Why would we drop this strategy if we are protecting ourselves from reality and from pain? What if it's the protection against trauma, traumatic experience? We don't want that. We want to keep this strategy because it helps us. So the subconscious mind needs to understand why you need to drop this strategy. And in order to understand why, you need to understand what's happened and process it once again with your adult mind. That's going to help. Number 7, jealousy and envy. The same. The feelings that were suppressed and you were unable to express them. It could be the needs that were not met. For example, I need to be loved. I need to be given attention. I need to feel special. I need to feel celebrated. If those feelings were not expressed, we will try to seek them somewhere else in different manifestations, including jealousy and envy. Number 8, excuses and lying. Lying is one of the most common thing that people come to me for. It's like, I lie and I don't know what to do with it. I kind of find myself just going away from the truth, like fabricating the facts or trying to lie. I had a problem with this myself. So I really catch myself really well when I find myself doing that, when I try to fabricate the facts or maybe intensify them just because, it feels more exciting. But then I catch myself on, no, just be true. Just be truthful. Just be truthful. It's always going to work for you. Right? So when clients come to me with I'm lying or I'm having these excuses that I make all the time, right? Then what happens is, again, at some point in childhood, that strategy worked really well to protect you from pain, from maybe abuse. Maybe you had to lie a lot in order to get your way around in the world at that time. And now it's actually holding you back. Then you're too overwhelmed with holding the lie, right? It's really hard to hold the lie and to really remember about it. Number 9, fighting to prove something. So if you have this tendency where you want to prove your opinion, you want to you argue a lot, and someone will tell you, well, you're acting like a child. Like, why would you so adamantly prove your point? And who cares really? But for us, it can be really important to prove that we are right, because if we prove that we are right, we won. And if we won, we survived. We survived, and that survival strategy is holding us back because it pushes away people. It pushes people away from us. And then we find ourselves lonely and without friends because no one wants to be friends with someone who argues a lot, who defies all the opinions, who's always in conflict, right? I had friends like that, and it's not the best experience, who no matter what you say, they have their own and they try to prove that that's what they believe in. It's the real truth, right? It's hard to be in a relationship with these people. Number 10, anxiety. Anxiety is when we are afraid about the future or about the past, right? Where we are overthinking the past experiences and we're afraid what's going to come next. So not living in the present moment. And people sometimes, well, it comes from childhood. I was always a worrier. I was always I always was anxious. Since I remember myself, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, I was always anxious. Well, here's the thing. You needed stability in childhood in order to explore things. You needed the stability You needed to feel safe around your adult, your caregivers, parents, siblings, peers in schools, coaches, teachers, in order to explore the world to the fullest. If I'm safe here, I can venture into the world, right? I can just go there and explore. Could be at toddler's age or it could be older age. But when you are growing up, you are still seeking that stability, which is actually not possible. Right? Stability is not possible. It's a constant change. Children need stability, right? Because they need to explore the world feeling safe. When I feel safe, I become confident. And that confidence is then going to build a stronger emotional intelligence. Right? I need to build confidence in a safe environment so that when I grow up, right, I feel resilient, right? Let's just say resilient towards changes, towards I'm resilient because I'm safe. I have a deepest sense of safety. And if you didn't have that, your mind became very aware of the future or of the past based on different experiences. Childhood, trauma, sexual, physical, emotional, verbal, whatever it was. The mind became very aware of the future. I need to predict. I need to predict the future in order to feel safe, in order to live this life. But now you still keep predicting that. You still predicting the future, even though it's not possible, but you still believe that as a child, you still can do that. And that creates a lot of anxiety, a lot of expectation on the future moment, on the future outcome, just like you did when you were a child. But in childhood, the function of being anxious was different. And now you don't need to, because you're not dependent anymore. You can create the safety. The parents had to create it for you, but you can create it now. And that is going to help you. So working on the moment that was suppressed, that is now showing as a compensation. Working on the moment in childhood that was that you felt stuck in, that now is showing up as a chronic condition or behavior or reaction. That is going to help you release whatever strategy you don't like, and you stop acting like a child and you start living like an adult. I hope that helps you. Please rewatch it, send it to someone who needs it, because maybe you have someone who you feel will benefit from this video. Tag them here, ask me questions, I will answer all of them. Be healthy emotionally and physically.